I wanted to go over the 3.1 picture page. So this is discussing the domain, range, increasing and decreasing of a picture or a graph. These are actually graphs that we're going to study later this chapter. And this is in the book. It's in section 3.1, but this is just an additional video to help catch you up if you missed class. So let's just recap right quick. The domain are the x values, okay? And domain goes from left to right because that's the x-axis. So when we're looking for domain, we're going to read the graph from left to right, okay? Range are the y-coordinates. Now we know that the y-axis goes from bottom to top. So when we're looking for the range, we're going to read a graph from the bottom to the top. Now, here's a quick way that you can keep those two straight. If you look at the alphabetical order, D comes before R in the alphabet, and then X comes before Y in the alphabet. So domain goes with range, D before Y, and range goes with Y. I may have mixed that up, but anyway, they're in alphabetical order. D comes before R, X comes before Y. So that's how you can keep those straight. Okay, so for domain and range, your brain is going to be going from left to right, left to right. For range, your brain should be going bottom to top. I guess I should say your eyeballs, not your brain and your eyes. Bottom to top. So let's look at this first one. Domain. This has an open circle. I have changed this recently, so don't freak out. If yours happens to have a closed circle, that just means you got an old copy. But this new copy has an open circle, and I want to look at this thing from left to right. So if I look at this thing to the left, the furthest most point to the left would be right here at, that's -2. Okay, that is the furthest to the left that graph is ever going to reach. And then if I look at what it's going to do to the right, I see that it's going to go on forever to the right. Now let's write that as an interval. So it's going to start at -2, so I'm just going to put -2. It's going to go to the right, and in math, the right is positive infinity. We know we always put a parentheses with infinity, and this is an open circle, so we will put a parentheses. If it were a closed circle, you would put a bracket. Okay, what I'm going to try to do is do the domain for A, B, and C, and then I'm going to try to switch colors on my pen. Let's see if I can get the pen to work. All right, let's go to B. Let's just do the domain. I'm going to do the domain in purple. For domain, you look from the left. Okay, so this is what this graph is doing to the left. It's shooting on forever. And then you go to the right. Now the furthest point to the right is 2. And we have to write this in interval notation. And you go from left, -infinity, to the right, +2. So my domain is -infinity to 2. And since it actually stops at 2 and we don't have any open circles there, that is going to be a bracket. Okay? Now, the last one is interesting. This one is going to go to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. All of eternity is going to be going to the left. But it's also going to be going to the right, to the right, to the right, to the right. So this one is going to go forever and ever. It's going to get wider and wider and wider and wider and wider, left and right. We know that the left in math is -infinity. And the right is positive infinity. And remember from our last chapter, you never put a bracket with an infinity. All right, let's see if I can change colors on my pen. And I am not that crafty, but I think I might have it. Let's see. All right, now we've got green. We will do the range in green. So for the range, you're going to go from bottom to top. That is very, very important. You have to start at the bottom, okay? And then you work your way up to the top. So let's look at this graph right here. If you look down at the lowest point on this graph, it would be, this is the lowest point down here. I think that's -1. All right, and then we also need to look at this graph vertically. But I see that it's going up, 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 up. For all eternity, it's going to go up. So my range is -1 to infinity, because it's going up. Infinity gets a bracket, and I'm sorry, infinity gets a parentheses, infinity gets a parentheses, infinity gets a parentheses, infinity always gets a parentheses. But -1 gets a bracket, okay? Let's do the next one. I'm going to keep in green, and then I'll come back with a different color and tell you whether or not it's a function. Okay, remember we have to look at it from the bottom to the top, okay? So you go from the bottom, which is -1, to the top, which is 2. So you start down. The lowest it's ever going to go is -1. The highest it's ever going to reach is 2. And since we don't have open circles here, these both get brackets because it actually dips down to -1 and it actually comes up to +2. So those are both brackets. And the last one, the range. Now remember, range is down, up. It's very important. It's not left to right. It's down to up. So let's look at this thing vertically. What is it going to do down, 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 down forever? Well, it's going to go towards -infinity. Same thing here, down, 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 down forever. Towards -infinity. Down is -infinity. I'm not talking about left or right. I'm saying down. And then we look at the highest. Remember, you go from bottom to top. The highest it's ever going to reach is 3. So our range, it starts at -infinity. Always put a parentheses around infinity. And then you're going to put a bracket at 3 because it actually crosses there. All right, let's see if I can change colors again. I'm feeling pretty crafty here. All right, let's go to red. Now let's look at this question. Is it a function, yes or no? If it is a function, it has to pass, my pencil is crooked, what is called the vertical line test. It's called the VLT, the vertical line test. And some people call it the pencil test. If you can move your pencil across that graph, and if it ever touches more than once, it is not a function. It can only touch one time. So let's look at this first one. If I were to lay my pencil down vertically here, it would only touch one time there. It would only touch one time there. It would only touch one time there. There's nowhere that I could draw a vertical line that it would ever touch more than once. So this is a function, yes. And the reason is you would say it passes the VLT. Again, that stands for the vertical line test. All right, let's look at this one. Now, if I were to lay my pencil right here vertically, you can barely see that red dot, but there's my vertical line. Uh-oh, I've got a problem because it's going to touch this graph 2 times, and that's a no-no. It cannot cross it more than once. So this is not a function, and the reason is that it fails the VLT. It fails the vertical line test. And then the last one, if you laid a vertical line on this graph, there's nowhere that you could put a vertical line that it would ever cross more than one place at a time. So this is a yes, and the reason again is that it passes the VLT. Now on your test, on your quizzes, on your homework, you're going to have to tell me why. So either yes, it passes the VLT, or no, it fails the VLT. Now, I want to go down to these pictures at the bottom because I've added an additional question. And I said, tell me where it is increasing or decreasing. And I'm going to try to do a couple of these with you really quick. So, let's go to... I think I'll just stick with purple. Let's go to purple. State the domain and range. Okay, this is just what we just did in the top 3 examples. So let's kind of do this quickly. Domain is left to right, left to right, left to right. So left to right. This thing is starting at -2. It's going to the right forever, which is infinity. Parentheses, parentheses. The reason that we put a parentheses at -2 is because it is an open circle. If you happen to have a copy of this paper that has a closed circle, don't worry, you would just put a bracket instead. I have 2 different versions of this paper floating around. Okay, really quick, range. Range is bottom, look down, to top, look up. Bottom to top. So the lowest this thing is ever going to hit on the y-axis is 0, and then it's going to shoot up forever. It's going to go up towards positive infinity. So my range is parentheses at 0 because we've got that open circle, and then positive infinity because it's going up. Okay, so that's a review. We've already done that. But here's the new part. Let me change colors. Let's go to red. Okay, I absolutely, love, it's not letting me change colors. I love this. Listen to me very, very carefully. Let me try one more time. There we go. Okay, listen to my story. You are on a roller coaster, and you always sit down on the left-hand side of the ride. You always sit your little hiney on the leftist most point of the ride. So for this ride, here you are, and here's the roller coaster buggy, and here you are sitting down, hands up, ready to go. And you're going to follow this ride for all of eternity, actually, because it never stops. Now, what would your body, your literal body on this actual roller coaster, what would your body be doing? It would be increasing. It would be going up, 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 up forever. So this entire ride is what we call an increasing ride. So you always, always, always use the X point as your start, stop. You don't use the Y. It's always the X, okay? So for increasing and decreasing, it's always the X coordinate, not the Y. That's very important. So this thing starts increasing at negative, is that -2? Yeah. Starts at -2, and it's going to increase forever to the right, which is positive infinity. Now, here's a hint. You always put a parenthesis with increasing and decreasing. And here's why. Think about an actual roller coaster. What is your body doing on the moment that you sit in the buggy and click, 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 get your seatbelt on, get the little harness on? What is your body doing for that split second? Nothing. It's not increasing or decreasing at the moment the ride, presses go. So that's why we put a parenthesis there. You do not ever put a bracket for increasing and decreasing. Increasing and decreasing will always be parentheses, okay? Now, if it doesn't decrease, you write the word none. All right, I'm not crazy about my pen. Let's see if I can go to green. Okay. All right, this is just like the one above. So this example is similar to this example. I'm going to skip that and let's try this one. This one's a little bit different. This is a special graph that we are studying. Okay, so let's do domain and range first. Remember, domain is left to right. And if you look at this thing, it's a V, and it's just going up, 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 left and right, left and right, left and right, left and right for all of infinity. So the domain is negative infinity to positive infinity. Let's look at the range. The range is down, up, down, up. The lowest it ever goes is 1, and then it goes up forever. So this will be a bracket at 1 and an infinity. All right, this one's a little bit trickier. I've got 2 minutes. Let's get on the ride on the left. Remember, you always sit down on the roller coaster on the left-hand side. You always, always, always sit down on the left-hand side. Read my lips. Sit on the left. All right, so this guy from here until this X spot. Now remember, the X spot is where you turn, not the Y. So our X coordinate here is 0. That's the X coordinate. So from the left until cat gets to 0, he's going to be decreasing. So let's go ahead and write that. The left is negative infinity. The X point is 0, and we put a parenthesis for all increasing and decreasing. All right, really quick, I'm running out of time. From 0 to the right, this guy is going to be increasing. He's going to be going up. So your increasing begins at 0 and goes to positive infinity. All right, that's a quick little overview of domain, range, function, vertical line test, yes or no, and increasing and decreasing. This is from 3.1 picture page.